You know that feeling when the day feels the same as yesterday and you catch yourself wishing for something more exciting to happen. But what if the secret to a fuller life isn't about chasing big moments, but about finding richness in the ones you're already living? Today we are going to explore one simple shift that can help you enjoy ordinary life more. This matters now more than ever because so many of us are stuck in routines that drain our energy rather than fill it. When you start practicing this shift consistently, you may notice that quiet afternoons and simple errands start to feel unexpectedly meaningful. The thing most of us get wrong is thinking enjoyment requires something new or grand, when really it's about seeing what's already here with fresh eyes. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you step by step through one practical way to bring that feeling into your everyday life. So let's start with the first part of this shift, noticing where your attention usually goes during a normal day. Enjoying ordinary life more means finding real contentment in the small everyday moments that fill our hours. It matters because most of our life is made up of ordinary days, not special occasions. This isn't about forcing yourself to be happy all the time, it's about noticing what's already good. Think of a quiet morning with your coffee, a walk to the mailbox, or the feeling of clean sheets. A common misunderstanding is that enjoyment requires big events or major achievements. The relief here is that you don't need to change your whole life to feel more satisfied. The simple takeaway is that ordinary life already contains plenty of moments worth savoring. That leads us to why this shift in perspective matters so much for your everyday well-being. When you can enjoy ordinary life, your overall sense of well-being becomes more stable and lasting. It matters because chasing peak experiences leaves you exhausted and always wanting more. Ordinary moments are free, frequent, and available to everyone regardless of circumstances. For example, noticing the warmth of sunlight on your skin can lift your mood without any effort. The trap is thinking you need to earn enjoyment through productivity or achievement first. The benefit is that you build a deeper, quieter happiness that doesn't disappear when excitement fades. A practical insight is that this kind of enjoyment acts as a buffer against stress and disappointment. Now let's look at what life feels like when this ability to enjoy the ordinary is missing. Without the ability to enjoy ordinary life, each day can feel flat, draining, and somehow incomplete. You might constantly feel like you're waiting for the next weekend, vacation, or big milestone. Everything seems dull, and you find yourself scrolling through your phone just to escape the boredom. Even pleasant routines like taking a shower or driving to work feel like chores to get through. The real problem is that you end up missing most of your life while wishing it were different. A helpful insight is that this emptiness isn't because your life is boring, it's because you're not present to it. Recognizing this can be a relief because it means the solution isn't to change your circumstances. Next, we need to understand the common habits and beliefs that block you from enjoying your ordinary days. If this idea of enjoying ordinary life more feels helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Take a second to pause and think about one small moment today that felt quietly good. Maybe it was the warmth of your coffee or a few seconds of quiet. Drop that in the comments below. I'd really enjoy reading what comes to mind. And if you're finding value in these videos, hitting the like button helps others find them too. Subscribing to Happy Life Tribe means you'll get more gentle reminders like this one. Stick around for the rest of the video because we're about to explore another simple way to bring more ease into your day. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in just a moment. The biggest block is the habit of constantly comparing your ordinary life to everyone else's highlight reel. You scroll through social media and assume your quiet evening isn't good enough because it isn't loud or impressive. Another pattern is rushing through tasks without noticing them, always focused on what comes next. You might also believe that enjoying small moments is a waste of time when you could be being productive. The truth is, this belief makes you miss the very life you're working so hard to build. The relief is understanding that these habits are learned, so you can unlearn them. A simple takeaway is to catch yourself when you think, this isn't enough, and pause. That recognition brings us to the first mindset shift you need to make. The first mindset shift is to stop treating ordinary moments as obstacles and start treating them as the main event. This matters because your mindset determines whether a moment feels like a gift or a burden. Instead of thinking, I have to do this, try thinking, I get to experience this. For example, washing dishes can shift from a boring chore to a chance to feel warm water and quiet focus. A realistic pitfall is expecting this shift to happen overnight. It takes repeated, gentle reminders. The benefit is that you reclaim your attention and energy from the endless chase for more. The practical takeaway is to choose one ordinary activity today and approach it with curiosity. With that mindset in place, let's look at the first practical step you can take to begin changing this. The first practical step is to pause for just 10 seconds once a day and notice something ordinary with all your senses. This matters because you can't enjoy something you don't notice in the first place. You simply stop whatever you're doing, take a breath, and look at something nearby as if for the first time. Pick something plain, like the texture of a wooden table or the sound of a fan spinning. A realistic truth is that your mind will resist and try to label it as pointless. That's okay. The relief comes from realizing that just this small pause can shift your entire mood without any extra effort. The simple takeaway is to anchor this pause to a daily routine, like after you turn off your alarm. As you practice this pause, you'll naturally start to want to extend that quiet attention to more moments throughout your day. Let's paint a picture of what enjoying ordinary life actually feels like on a typical Tuesday. It's not about grand adventures or constant excitement, but a quiet sense of being present. You might notice the way sunlight falls on your desk while you work, or the rhythm of your breath as you wait for coffee. Small moments like these become more vivid because you're not rushing past them to get to something else. The tricky part is that this doesn't happen automatically. It takes a gentle shift in attention. Over time, you start to feel more connected to your day instead of just enduring it. A simple way to check is to ask yourself what you noticed in the last hour that wasn't on a to-do list. This awareness is where the real enjoyment begins, and it leads us straight into a simple practice that supports it. One of the most reliable habits I've found is what I call a 1-minute pause, sometime during the day. It matters because it trains your brain to stop chasing productivity and just be in the moment. All you do is stop whatever you're doing, take one slow breath, and look at something ordinary, like a plant, a wall, or your own hands. Notice the texture, the color, the light on it without any need to change or judge it. A common misunderstanding is that this has to be a long meditation, but even those few seconds build a new pattern. The relief comes from realizing you don't have to earn the right to pause. You can take it freely. Try setting a random alarm on your phone once a day to remind you to do this little pause. That tiny break can shift your whole perspective, though many people trip up on a big mistake when they try this. If you're looking for more gentle guidance on building a calmer, happier life, I have a suggestion. Head over to www.happylifetribe.com where you'll find a whole library of practical ideas and encouragement. It's a space designed for people who want to live with more intention, without pressure or perfection. You'll discover simple tools to help you slow down, appreciate the small things, and feel more grounded. Whether it's a short article, a reflection prompt, or a supportive community, there's something there for you. The site is completely free to explore, and it's updated regularly with fresh content. Think of it as a quiet corner of the internet where you can come to reset and recharge. I hope you'll stop by and see what resonates with you. The most frequent error is treating this practice like another chore you need to do perfectly. People start telling themselves they have to be mindful every single moment or they're failing. That pressure turns enjoyment into a performance, which defeats the whole purpose. You might catch yourself thinking, I'm not enjoying this ordinary moment enough, or I should feel more grateful right now. This judgment just creates tension and pushes the natural experience further away. The real insight is that enjoyment isn't a task you accomplish. It's a permission you give yourself to soften. When you notice that critical voice, simply say, it's okay if I'm not feeling it right now, and move on without forcing anything. Letting go of perfection makes the whole thing feel much more realistic and sustainable, which is exactly what we'll look at next. To keep this from becoming another burden, start with the smallest possible version, just one ordinary moment per day. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine or carve out 30 minutes of silence. Pick a single mundane activity like washing your hands, waiting at a stoplight, or opening a door, and pay full attention to it for just a few seconds. That's it. No special equipment, no preparation, no failure mode. A realistic truth is that you'll probably forget some days, and that's completely fine. The benefit is that this approach removes the pressure and lets the habit grow naturally over weeks. If one moment feels manageable, you can slowly add a second moment later in the day. Once you feel that lightness, you'll start to notice genuine emotional shifts in how you relate to your daily life. As you practice more, you'll notice a gradual softening of that constant, I need to get to the next thing feeling. Your mind becomes less reactive to small inconveniences because you've built a little buffer of calm. Emotionally, you might feel a quiet contentment that doesn't depend on big achievements or exciting plans. You start to see that ordinary moments hold their own richness, like the warmth of a blanket or the sound of rain. A common misunderstanding is that this makes you passive or unambitious, but it actually frees up mental energy for what matters. You become more patient with yourself and others because you're not always in a hurry. The biggest change is that you feel less like you're waiting for life to start and more like you're already living it. This is a powerful shift, but the real challenge is keeping it going when life gets hectic. When your schedule fills up and stress returns, the first thing to drop is usually the very practice that helps. That's normal, and it doesn't mean you've lost everything you built. Instead of trying to do the full pause, shrink it down to one conscious breath before you start your next task. You can also anchor the practice to something you already do every day, like taking a sip of water or unlocking your phone. A realistic truth is that some days you'll forget entirely, and that's part of the process, not a failure. The relief comes from knowing you can always come back to any ordinary moment, no matter how chaotic things are. Keep the bar extremely low. Even a 3-second pause counts as a win. With that mindset, you'll find it much easier to carry this into the next part of your day, and we'll talk more soon about deepening it further. Over weeks and months, this way of seeing ordinary moments starts to change your whole day. It's not that your life becomes more exciting, but the quiet parts start to feel fuller. You might notice that a slow morning with nothing planned feels like a gift instead of wasted time. Even waiting in line or sitting in traffic can become a small chance to breathe and notice where you are. The tricky part is that this shift happens slowly, so you might not feel it right away. But one day you'll realize you're less restless and more present in the middle of a boring Tuesday. That's when you know the practice is working, because ordinary life starts to feel enough. Let's look at what happens when you hit a rough patch and old habits try to creep back in. One of the best parts of this journey is knowing you're not walking it alone. When you subscribe to Happy Life Tribe, you join a community of people who are also learning to enjoy life more, one small step at a time. We share ideas, encouragement, and real-life stories that remind us we're all figuring this out together. You can also connect with others at www.happylifetribe.com, where the conversation continues. There's something powerful about knowing others are trying to live with more peace and intention, just like you. It gives you momentum and a sense of belonging that makes the journey lighter. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing and becoming part of this gentle, supportive space. I'd love to have you here learning and growing alongside us. Even after you've made progress, there will be days when you completely forget to enjoy anything. Maybe you're stressed about work, tired from a bad night's sleep, or just feeling irritable for no clear reason. On those days, the ordinary moments feel flat again, and you might think the practice isn't working. That's normal, and it doesn't mean you've lost everything you built. The challenge is that your brain naturally falls back into old patterns when you're under pressure. The good news is that these setbacks are temporary, and they actually teach you what triggers your old mindset. You don't need to fight the setback, just notice it and let it pass. Next, let's talk about how to gently recover when you slip back into those old patterns. When you notice you've slipped, the first step is to be kind to yourself instead of getting frustrated. Remind yourself that this is part of the process, not a failure. Then, pick one tiny ordinary moment today, like the feeling of warm water on your hands, and pay full attention to it. That small act of noticing can reset your focus and bring you back to the present. The mistake people make is trying to force themselves to feel grateful or happy, which only adds pressure. Instead, just observe what's happening without judging it as good or bad. Within a few minutes, you'll likely feel a little more grounded and less stuck. Now let's talk about who this approach helps most and why it fits so many different lives. This way of enjoying ordinary life helps anyone who feels like their days blur together without much meaning. It's especially useful for people who are busy, overwhelmed, or always waiting for the next big thing to feel happy. If you've ever thought, I'll be happy when I get that promotion or after this busy season ends, this is for you. It also helps those who struggle with anxiety or restlessness because it gives you a simple anchor in the present moment. The truth is, no matter your age or situation, you have ordinary moments every single day. So this practice isn't about adding something new. It's about seeing what's already there. That makes it accessible to anyone, whether you're a student, a parent, or retired. With that in mind, here's a simple action plan to start enjoying your ordinary life today. To start, choose one ordinary moment you experience every day, like brushing your teeth or walking to your car. For the next week, give that moment your full attention without multitasking or rushing through it. Notice the sensations, the sounds, the light, and how your body feels in that small routine. That's it. No extra steps or complicated techniques needed. The challenge will be remembering to do it, so set a gentle reminder on your phone or put a sticky note where you'll see it. If you miss a day, just start again the next day without guilt. After a week, you can add a second ordinary moment if you want, but keep it simple. This small start is enough to shift how you experience your whole day, and that's the real point. The reason this change matters is that ordinary life is where you actually live, not the vacations or big milestones. If you can learn to find quiet contentment in the everyday, you stop needing life to be extraordinary to feel okay. That doesn't mean you will not still want exciting things, but they become bonuses, not necessities. The practice is simple, but it takes patience because your mind is used to looking for more. Every time you pause and notice an ordinary moment, you're training yourself to be at home in your own life. And over time, that training adds up to a deep, steady sense of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. So start small, be gentle with yourself, and trust that this quiet shift is worth the effort. You already have everything you need to enjoy your ordinary life. It's just waiting for you to notice it. As we wrap up here, I hope you feel a little more permission to enjoy the simple moments in your day. The ideas we talked about today are small, but they can make a real difference when you practice them gently. You don't have to change everything at once. Just one small step can open the door to more ease. If this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like it and subscribe to Happy Life Tribe. For more encouragement and practical ideas, visit our online community at www.happylifetribe.com. There you'll find support, calm living inspiration, and mindful lifestyle guidance to help you build a happier, more intentional life. Thank you for spending this time with me and for choosing to bring a little more presence into your everyday. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take it easy and enjoy the ordinary.